YouTube. So today I am going to be restoring the headliner in my '06 Chevy Impala. I just kind of want to show you guys a few techniques on how to do it. I've watched a few videos on YouTube and they kind of don't really explain too well. Or for this specific car, they don't really show you exactly what to do. So first thing you want to do is pull off the old headliner. Most of the foam will come off with the old headliner. If not, then you'll be left with some of the foam on the headliner, as you can see here. So what you want to do is you want to take a wire brush and a metal scrubbing pad. This one's kind of messed up, but it'll do the job. First thing you want to do is, I've already done this whole section right here, so you just want to kind of get this down to that point right there, and then if you take the metal stainless steel brush, copper brush, whatever you have, you can kind of get it down to that point. If you did the whole thing with just this, then it would kind of take a while, and you would just kind of be left with, you know, like little spots like that. If you take this, it just makes it come off a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the foam taken off, and then I will show you guys what it looks like afterwards. Alright, see you in a bit. Another thing that I want to point out is whenever you're doing this on a headliner that is made out of like a fiberglass or cardboard or whatever it may be, if it's plastic, it's not really that big of a deal. But with this type of material, it's, you know, like a layer of foam, layer of cardboard, and fiberglass on top. You don't, whenever you're brushing, you really don't want to do it real hard in a single area for too long, because then you'll kind of warp the form of your headliner, and once you put your new fabric on, then you're gonna have like a little hole in there or whatever, and that's what we want to avoid. So I'm gonna continue to do this, and then I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so I got all the foam taken off. It took about an hour to do, wasn't too bad. So to get all this stuff off, instead of just wiping it off and, you know, getting it all over your garage floor or whatever, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my shop vac, and that'll, you know, get like all the real fine stuff off of there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so once you have the whole thing stripped of the foam and vacuumed and everything, your next step is going to be to lay out your fabric on there. And you want to make sure you have, you know, about an inch and a half hanging on the sides, so that way whenever you push it down into the crevices and all that, you know, it's not going to go back over, and you won't have enough to cover up that edge. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the fabric on the headliner, and then I'll show you how to do the adhesive and all that. So I got a ultra suede material. I didn't want to use the standard headliner material, the foam back stuff. I just don't like the look of that, and I kind of want a, you know, more premium type feel. Whenever you lay this on there, you don't have to lay it perfectly flat, because whenever we spray the adhesive and, you know, flatten it out, it's gonna mold to the form of the headliner. So you can see all the wrinkles and stuff. All that's gonna go away once we start spraying the adhesive. The next step is what you're gonna want to do is you want to pull this back halfway over the headliner. And you want to keep this relatively flat. So whenever we spray, we're going to spray the adhesive on there. And then on the back of that, the back of the material, and we're going to slowly start working it on to the headliner. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down the adhesive, and I'll be right back. Once you have your adhesive sprayed, you are going to want to let this sit for 4 to 5 minutes, because if you lay your fabric on there whenever it's still wet, it's going to seep through the fabric and then ruin the top layer, and then you just have to buy a whole new sheet of fabric. I also wanted to note that I laid down some 3M painters barrier, so that way I don't get the adhesive and stuff on the concrete in my garage. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry and then start laying it on there, and I'll show you what that looks like. Got this whole section laid down, and it took 2 cans of the Permatex headliner adhesive. So I'm going to have to run to AutoZone, which is 30 minutes away from where I live. So I'm going to go run and do that. But I just wanted to show you that it's turning out pretty good. I'm going to have to, of course, vacuum it, and once I trim up the edges and get them adhered to the back of the headliner, it'll look a lot better. Well, that was a fun journey to AutoZone. Alright, so I got a tripod, kind of film, better angles, and I can actually do stuff and not have to hold the phone or turn the phone off. So we're going to go ahead and do the second part of the headliner. So whenever I do this, I'm going to start from the middle here and then do this section, get that coated, jump over there, do that part, and then I'll do this whole front part as one. And another note, you want to shake this up pretty good. It's a Permatex headliner adhesive. Before you spray it again, like if you've been using it and you set it down, walk away from it for a while, you want to shake it up and then turn it upside down. Spray it at something that you don't care about. And you want to wait till that glue comes out and it's just spraying air. And then you would be good to spray your adhesive. Alright, so you want to make sure that you get a real even coat on there. Yeah, you can, looking at the camera, you can see that it's all pretty much covered. I'm going to go ahead and lay that part down, and then I'll do that upper part. So I'm going to show you how you're going to want to lay that down. One thing that I found useful, it's a little rolling pin that you can just roll the fabric onto the headliner. It's a decoupage tool, I guess it's called. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. So whenever you do this, you want to lift up your fabric and you want to start from the center. You want to put your arm under here and slowly push it onto the headliner. And if you feel any wrinkles, you want to just pull back and smooth that out. I'm just checking to see if it's dry enough. I'm going to let this side actually dry a little bit before I start doing that. So this dried up pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and start laying the fabric on there. And when you're doing this, you don't want to go too much on one side. You want to jump over to the other side, go back and forth, so you don't lay this down and then that has wrinkles in it. And another thing I want to point out is how this part is flat and this part is raised, how you have that slope right here. You don't want to stretch the fabric over this slope. You want to relax it down in to the slope, so whenever the adhesive dries, it's not stretched on there. It just relaxed in there and it dries nice and smooth in there. So it's kind of hard to tell in the video. There's kind of a lip right here where the handles go on the roof. Whenever I'm laying this down, I'm going from the middle, and once I get to that little hump, I push the fabric into that and then flatten it out and then over the side right there. So this is where I'm going to use the rolling pin, and I'm going to go over the section that I just went over and go in the direction that I was laying the fabric, because I don't want to go back this way and then create, you know, like a little wrinkle in there. And this thing just broke because it was like $5. So if you want to buy a better one, then buy a better one. But I can still hold it from the side and still use it. And on the slope part, I want to hold down right here and just kind of roll that up like this. So whenever I spray this front part, you want to pull the fabric back a little bit away from the adhesive. So whenever you spray more adhesive, you don't have a little section in here that doesn't have any of the spray. This part has adhesive on it, so I want to cover all of that, so whenever I lay this all has adhesive. And this is whenever the second can comes in help. Okay, so I let that dry for about 5-6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the rest of this down with my broken $5 rolling pin. There's a little spot in here that's kind of tricky where that hole is, where this crevice for the handle. So if I don't lay it down right, there's going to be a big wrinkle right here. That's not what I want. So all it is just, pulling back and getting it put in there correctly. this part right here is real tricky because there's a hump right here. It angles over this way and then comes up to a bigger hump. This whole part is flat. This little corner right here, if you don't get that put in there properly, then you're going to have a big wrinkle going this way or that way. So you saw that I pulled it back a little bit. You want to kind of go this way and then push this side into that area, and it fat in there real nice, or you know, fits in there real nice. Fat in there. So yeah, this whole area is perfectly laid in there. It's not raising up or sagging anywhere. You just want to push in on all those little spots. Make sure it gets some good adhesion, or it adheres. Sorry about the bad commentary. I'm trying. So whenever I'm pushing this in, I'm kind of pressing from the bottom and pressing from the top in these corners. That's because this is made out of cardboard, as you saw, and I don't want to push down and, you know, kind of deform the headliner itself. So I'm just trying to keep the shape of the headliner while I'm pushing down on the top of it. Alright. Well, it looks like it fits pretty good to me. So, next step is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and trim the edges up. And once I get that all trimmed up, then I'm going to show you how I'm going to attach it to the back of the headliner. And adhered to the back of the headliner, I cut out the holes for the handles, sun visor, and dome light. You can see the dome light on there. I'm probably just going to wind up painting that black because it doesn't look good with the black suede. I'm actually going to leave the headliner off of the car for the moment because I'm going to put a starlit ceiling in there. And I'm not just going to do it where, it's random holes everywhere. My plan is I want to actually get a map of the constellations that I actually already have that. So whenever I put the fiber optics in there, they will be actual constellations, not just random holes everywhere, because I think that kind of looks pretty stupid. So yeah, if you guys take your time and, don't cut any corners, you can achieve the same appearance, the same quality of this. And honestly, it looks really good. I'm not a professional by any means, but I plan on taking this further. I want to kind of jump into this world of doing upholstery. I know how to do stereos and all that kind of stuff, but I've never really done upholstery or anything like that. So I'm just trying my hand at it, and the first attempt is pretty good. So if you guys are excited for the next video, which will be the starlit ceiling, hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you guys on the next one.